If y'all don't realize that AOC is the most dangerous Democratic politician in America right now, you need to wake up.
What, in your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
I think, to me, the fundamental differences, there's many.
Yeah.
One prevailing one is democracy. And I believe that democratic socialists are fundamentally pro-democracy. And we believe in the ballot box. We believe in respecting the outcomes of elections and governing democratically.
Now, there's probably a fair number of you out there saying, Ralph, what are you talking about? This woman's been made a fool of so many times over the last however many years she's been in Congress, and she's just recently in February made a complete fool of herself on an international stage at the Munich Defense Summit, whatever it was.
And ensuring that the ideas and policies that are implemented are won through popular vote and popular opinion. And so I think that's why so much of what we focus on is also making sure that we are providing for the majority of Americans, guaranteeing health care, raising wages, strengthening the right to a union. And I think that that's at its core what we're about.
And to those of you out there asking yourselves this, asking me this question, I would say you're not wrong. But at the same time, that isn't something that we can rest and rely upon because the modern memory is quite short. In the internet age, people forget what was as soon as something new takes place, and there's always something new taking place. On top of that, though, Miss Ocasio-Cortez isn't resting or relying upon the skill that she has had thus far in her political career. She is actively attempting to improve her ability to speak and her ability at statecraft. She isn't on the level of Obama, but she is the closest thing that we have seen to an Obama since Obama in the Democratic Party. And I say this not because she is extraordinarily eloquent, but because she, unlike many of these other DSA candidates like Al-Said and Mamdani, is able to soften the ideas expressed by those two aforementioned politicians in such a way that it makes it a bit more palatable for the United States public. Beyond that, she's able to speak without the robotic sloganeering and propaganda of somebody like Miss Hong in Wisconsin, whom we just last week, saw give the most robotic interview I've ever seen to a Fox News host. To put it simply, she's a better salesman. And to demonstrate that, let's take a look at the next thing that she says.
Are you still a member of Democratic Socialists of America?
Of the New York City chapter.
The New York City chapter, not the national.
This right here is exactly what I'm talking about. Distancing yourself from the national party, but saying that you are only affiliated with your local chapter in New York, like New York isn't full of the most ardent socialists in America, is just dishonest. She wants to sit here and use her disassociation or claim of disassociation from the national DSA platform to trick the politically uninitiated into believing that there's some sort of difference. Those people that don't realize that the West Coast and New York are the centers of socialist thought and ideology in the United States. But she's going to try and hide that fact, and she's not going to stop or stutter or give a robotic answer when asked that question. And that's what makes her dangerous.
And what's the difference?
So every DSA chapter is formed locally.
Yeah. And
so the New York City DSA chapter, those are folks that you know. It's kind of like your local union chapter.
Yeah. So, because I know there was that strange moment in 2024 when the national chapter took away your endorsement.
Yes.
But I was looking through the DSA program, and this is the national program. I'm sure you've seen the document. It was adopted just a few months ago. But some of the positions here: defund the Department of Defense, close overseas military bases, abolish the police and prison system, grant amnesty to all immigrants in the U.S., replace the Supreme Court and executive judiciary with chosen by lower to Congress, abolish the Senate, public ownership of corporations and essential industries. I mean, those are some positions that you're going to be hearing a lot about this fall from Republicans.
And I think we're also going to be hearing a lot about Donald Trump's commitment to getting us into a reckless war in Iran, his collaboration with big companies to make sure that everything from groceries to rent stay sky high. And I think that people are less interested in these academic debates, and they're more interested in how we're going to bring their bills down and make sure that they can afford to see a doctor.
Now, as much as I've been effectively praising her political ability, it only takes so long, so many questions before they eventually start to fall apart, stop giving you original and authentic sounding responses to the questions, and start falling back on the slogans and the propaganda that we have seen for the last 10 years. And here we get it. When asked about DSA policy that Americans are generally ambivalent towards, she doesn't try to explain how those policies will actually work in our benefit, or that she doesn't want to implement those policies. Rather, she falls back on, what about Trump? What is Trump doing? Let's talk about Trump. That's how I'm going to win my next election, is talking about a politician that will never appear on another ballot in America. Like, do you people not get that Trump's sun has almost set? 2 more years and he's out. He's not in the White House. He's not going to be a senator. He's not going to be any of that. It's done. But because these people have no actual policy positions to fall back upon, none that most Americans actually want anyways, they keep on reverting to this TDS. And it's getting so fucking tiring, man. Like, can you please just have a good faith conversation with us about what it is you actually believe and the policies you actually want to implement, and how you see those policies being implemented in a way that is effective and efficient for most Americans? Can you please explain to us how it is you're going to make systems that have never worked before for anybody work here in the United States? And I don't want to hear anything about, the Scandinavian countries, they have all these social welfare programs. That's also because they have a homogenous culture and society. They are all raised effectively the same. They all understand one another, and they can all empathize with one another. We are not that. We are a melting pot of an innumerable number of races, creeds, religions, whatever. Trying to force people that do not understand one another on a fundamental level to cooperate with one another, to live the same way, is how you end up with civil warfare in the modern age. It doesn't have anything to do with our government at this point. Civil wars very often don't, or in a much less way, involve government. A lot of the civil war that we see across Africa is just between ethnic cultures that were forced to live together in a single nation state created by colonial powers. There are people in Africa that you could not, as an American, tell the difference between. They look the exact same. They dress the same. They speak the same culture. But because they are from 2 different tribes, all of those similarities mean nothing, because they see the world differently. And because of that, they have slaughtered themselves in the tens and hundreds of thousands. The social welfare programs, the socialism, the collectivism that is proposed by the left here in America is not only unworkable, generally speaking, but is particularly unworkable in a nation of so many disparate ideas and beliefs.
But do you see, are those positions you support?
No, but I think that this is a free country. Everyone can have all sorts of beliefs, and they can organize around them, and you're free to do what you like and, have conversations with your neighbors.
Yeah, unless, of course, there's a new virus floating around that only kills 1 in 300 people. Then, not so much.
But my job as an elected official is to guarantee health care in America. And that's what I'm focused on, and that's what I seek to do.
And what do you say to the moderate Democrats who say, first of all, that they are capitalists, and that those positions are going to doom the Democratic Party? Because, again, they're not positions that are supported.
Yeah, of course, they're free to have their economic identity as they like.
Well, that's a lie. It's literally a part of the socialist doctrine to eliminate capitalists. Like, they've consistently done that since the inception of socialism. Socialism, communism, fascism, All three are inherently opposed to capitalism and seek to utterly annihilate it. And in the annihilation of that idea, of course, they must annihilate capitalists.
And, in terms of dooming the party, the idea that there's a diversity of thought in America among everyday voting people is a fundamental fact of our country. I don't think that we should be worried about what somebody somewhere believes. I think we should be focused on what our plan to improve people's lives are.
And the delivery of that last part there is exactly what makes AOC the most dangerous Democratic or socialist politician in America today. And you must not rely on her past mistakes to bring her down in the coming elections. Pay attention, go out, vote. Otherwise, the socialist policies will be implemented in your states and your cities and your homes.